Welcome to Teaching Truth. Have you ever sensed or heard the call of God upon your life? Well, for me that happened on Sunday the 31st of July 1988 in the Scottish Exhibition and Conference Centre in Glasgow. It was the final morning of the 11th Baptist Youth World Conference in 1988. And I just knew as the week went on that God was challenging me and calling me as regards my availability. And on the final morning of the conference, the speaker, the Reverend David Coffey, who was former president of the Baptist Union of Great Britain, who went on to become the president of the Baptist World Alliance, said these words. To those of you here from Scotland, it's been a great privilege for us to be here. Who's going to step into their shoes? There are Sunday school teachers, pastors, youth leaders and missionaries who have brought you to where you are today. Who's going to follow them? And I just sensed God calling me in those moments. And as we sang that song, Here I Am, Wholly Available, I, along with many hundreds of other young people, stood in that hall in the Scottish Exhibition and Conference Centre on that Sunday morning to say, Here I am, wholly available. God didn't show me for some time afterwards the specific details of where he wanted me to serve, but as I look back to that moment in July 1988 in the Scottish Exhibition and Conference Centre, the 11th Baptist Youth World Conference, I can pinpoint that as the moment where I, in one sense, took that step out of the boat and walked towards Jesus. As we conclude our reflections for this week under the theme Profile of a Water Walker, what does it mean to be someone who walks on water? We want to simply and finally consider the fact that a water walker hears the call of God. Just as I heard the call of God on that Sunday morning back in July 1988 to get out of the boat and to begin an adventure with him. In the account we read in Matthew chapter 14, Jesus, as it were, comes walking to them on the water. He passes them by, and in that moment, Jesus appears. In that moment, Jesus calls Peter as a result of Peter saying, If it's I, tell me to come to you on the water. At that moment, Jesus calls Peter to get out of the boat. In that moment in July 1988, Jesus called me to get out of the boat. And for Peter, for me, and for many millions who have taken that step, it's involved crisis. It's involved opportunity. It's involved, let me tell you, lots of failures. It's involved often fear. It's involved suffering. It's involved taking something on that I think, whoa, this is way too much for me. But actually, by hearing that call and responding to that call and stepping out the boat brings not only a deeper intimacy with God, but actually helps us to engage an adventure with him. And perhaps today, through just simply what you're hearing and through this passage, Jesus is calling you. Jesus is calling you to step out of your boat. And perhaps you just need to respond by saying, just tell me to come to you on the water. Maybe you've been in the boat for far too long. Maybe you've become too comfortable. You might be in a very, metaphorically speaking, nice boat with padded deck chairs and stabilizers so that everything is plain sailing for you. You may have become very, very comfortable. Well, Jesus is passing by, and Jesus is calling you to get out of the boat. Jesus today is still looking for people who will take that first step. And for you, it may well be that first step of commitment to him, of saying, Jesus, I'm going to trust you for the rest of my life. I want to become a Christian today. Pray that simple prayer, and Jesus will be with you. He will take your hand. Is he calling you? Is he calling you to be baptized as an act of obedience? If you become a Christian, is he calling you to do that? You know, you feel that tug in your heart. Today is the day to make that decision. Or could it be that God is calling you to engage a new ministry, or a new area of service, and you know, and you've been praying about it, and this word is coming to you perhaps even today, imperfectly as it is, as a confirmation of that call upon your heart and upon your life. The call to get out of the boat. When you get out of the boat, guess what? Jesus will be there with you. You will begin an adventure with Jesus you never thought was possible. You will experience the exhilaration of walking on water with Jesus, such as Peter experienced. An exhilaration and experience that the 11 other disciples who did not respond to the call and chose not to respond to the call did not experience. Every once in a while, I think, in our lives, we hear the Holy Spirit prompting us and Jesus calling us to get out of the boat and to walk on water. Quite simply, the challenge today is to hear the call of Jesus and to get out of the boat. Join me next week in Teaching Truth as we begin to look at what not getting out of the boat means for us. But today, don't miss the opportunity to get out of the boat. Don't dismiss God's call on your life. Don't dismiss the voice of the Holy Spirit, which you may well be hearing right now. It's time to hear the call, to respond to the call, and to take that step out of the boat and to begin an adventure with Jesus on the water.